moon does look just a bit bigger tonight. We are live. I am Zach Nuñez. He's David Billiot Jr. This is Go Deep Dive. After a ugly, ugly loss to Northeastern on Monday night, not pretty at all. Do you want to give us just a little bit of flow and some of your thoughts? It's not much to really talk about with the flow. It all went off the rails really quickly, but I know you have a little bit. So give us your thoughts. Give us your vibes.
Yeah, I texted you. I'm surprised I made it as long as I did. It was like the seventh inning. It finally hit me. I'm like, why am I writing this down at this point anymore? No one's gonna want to hear this. But I did want to just talk about like the first three innings and just how it went. Where it went off the rails, and then because once it was 10-0. I mean, they made an effort, but we knew it was game over. But I mean, Cooper Williams doesn't throw over the weekend because of how well everyone else threw. I was really excited to see him get the start. Everyone knows me, knows that he was one of my picks for in the rotation. I was very excited about that. And then he comes out and even as Jay explained after the game, he was electric in the first inning. He goes 1-2-3, strikes out the third hitter, and it's like, all right, this is what we expected. And then the first batter of the second inning was the ground ball that John Pearson, who was getting the start at first base, given Jay said he was giving York just a night off of his legs. But Pearson starting at first base comes way too far off the bag, not his play, error. That's his first error of the inning, or first error of the game. And then Cooper Williams tries to pick off, runner moves up the second, and it's like almost at that point, it kind of seemed like it was going to start to go this way, and it sure did. Single up the middle, they score 1-0. Another single through the six hole, and both of these were pretty weakly hit. We talked about it, like they were sneaking balls through early. It was the error, and then sneaking balls through, and then after that second single, that's when it really went off the rails for Williams. He walked a guy. When Pearson makes his second error, his bases loaded, nobody out. You get the ground ball. You could have got the force out at home, and got the runner out there. When you needed it, he makes the error, and then that's when. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. The walk was when Williams came out. Cowan came in, did his job, gets the ground ball that he needs to get, makes the Pearson makes the error. That makes it 2-0, and then Cowan goes strikeout, fly out, like pop out in the infield. So it's bases loaded, 2 out, and he's so close to getting out of this down 2-0. And if he gets out of this down 2-0, like LSU may win this game. Like that's great. It's this play right here where it really went wrong. He's got 2 strikes on a guy, gives up a 2 RBI single, 2 strikes, 2 hits. It's 4-0. Gets out of the inning, and then same thing in the third though. He comes out and there's a bloop double down the line to start off with a double. Moves up the third on a wild pitch. Now he's at third, nobody out. He goes strikeout, strikeout, and it's like okay, like he's right there, so close to getting out of this again, and you still would have felt okay about it at this point. And then it's single to make it 5-0. Single. 3-run home run to the 9-hole hitter who was batting .091 and hadn't hit a home run yet. 8-0, and then we didn't really got to get it. Ragin comes in, gives up a couple, and then it's 10-0 by the end of that inning. And then, I mean, as far as game flow, the game was over at that point. We can get to some of the young guys because it was good to see some of the, not just young guys, bench guys too, like, depth pieces, I guess you would say, come in and do some work. We can get to that, after we get through the bad stuff here. But I mean, it was brutal. It was just, I saw Hunt Palmer tweet at one point. He put it the best way I could see. He said, hitting, pitching, fielding, like just the vibes in every facet of this game are as bad, as awful as they could possibly be. And that was the best way to wrap it up, or to summarize it, I guess I would say. It was bad. We'll get to, there was some positivity at the end, but I know you want to get your 2 cents in on how you feeling about this, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna preface this by saying I have 2 sides of my sports brain. I have my fanatical brain and I have my journalistic brain. It's pretty obvious where this one's gonna come from, so just keep that in mind. My fanatic brain is irrational, okay? So let's start with pitching, okay? Baseball is a very mentally demanding sport. Things happen, okay? Growing up, my dad and my uncle ran a baseball hitting facility, right? anytime you'd make a mistake, they had this little plastic toy toilet, and they'd hit the little flush button on the toilet. It's like, hey, flush your mistakes. This team doesn't seem to be able to flush their mistakes really well, and that was very evident last night. Not just in pitching, fielding as well, okay? You can't let that stuff get your head off. You gotta stay straight. You gotta stay tight. Flush it, move on. Learn from it later, but you can't let that continue to bother you as the game goes on. Same thing with fielding. 4 errors last night is absurd. This team has more than 1 error a game right now, and I know that's a little inflated because of last night, but that's still not good. Um, and it's one of those things where you continue to make these mistakes, and every team in the country is going to want to make you pay double and triple because, one, you are the brand. You are the biggest brand in college baseball. 2, you are the defending national champions, and you've won 2 in the past 3 years. Everybody wants to make you pay for your mistakes. You're everyone's World Series. Paul said this earlier on his show, and it's the absolute truth. Everybody, LSU is their World Series. The other thing is getting back to a little bit about flushing the mistakes. If you can't handle the pressure, then you can't represent those 3 letters accurately. You can't represent LSU accurately. I'm wearing the 2023 National Championship hat, and I'm wearing the shirt and the 2025 National Championship hat. I know there's quite a few guys left over from last year's team who know what it takes to win a national championship, and they just aren't playing like it. Not at all. And the worst part about this is you have 5 games, a little over a week, until you open up SEC play in one of the toughest environments the SEC has to offer. Alex Box is probably the first. Nashville is a close second. You're not ready to go play in Nashville yet, from a mentality standpoint and from what you've shown on the field standpoint. You're just not ready yet. You have 5 games left to figure it out. You are a quarter of the way through the season after tomorrow. It has to be figured out. At the plate, first of all, I want to know what Jay Johnson said on Sunday night, because it obviously did not resonate. If anything, it resonated with the younger guys, but I'll get to that too. Most, not all, most of the starters' plate discipline is awful. Not going to throw out names or whatever, but there's guys that a lot of you can pick out who are just swinging at crap. Just swinging at crap. And it's got to stop. These are people that we expect more of that are just not disciplined at the plate at all. And that's not what Jay Johnson teaches you. So where is this coming from? You're overly aggressive in your approach, and you've got to fix that. I don't want to hear the excuse of low velo. We've only really got one more weekend of seeing a team with low velo. I don't want to hear that excuse anymore. I don't want to hear it even if it's in SEC play. Figure it out. You're not the first team to deal with it. You sure as hell won't be the last. And it sure as hell won't be the last time you deal with it in your career if you want to play at the next level. In the pros, there's guys all across the velocity spectrum. Figure it out. You're slumping? Fine. But you can figure that out too. Go get Jason Giambi's golden thong. Go pull a Moises Alou. When growing up in baseball, another thing that my dad liked to do, he used to take all the bats of everybody on the team. He used to put them in a trash can, and below the trash, like at the bottom of the trash can, there was dry ice. He used to take water and spray water on that dry ice so it puffs up in smoke. He used to call it putting hits in the bats. Let's put hits in the bats. Let's do something like that. You want to burn the bats? Burn them, by all means. Do something. Figure it out. Like I said, you're almost a quarter of the way through the season. The excuses are getting to a point where it's just not acceptable anymore. I got to take a breath, check my notes. This has all got to be fixed. Everybody, like I said, everybody wants to make you pay for your mistakes. And the team you play tomorrow, little brother over there, I haven't laughed yet, little brother over here, they want to make you pay more than everybody else in the country does. I can guarantee you that. Don't let them. If you want to make believers out of everybody in this fan base, in this year's team, go beat the crap out of them tomorrow. Do it. Lastly, this is my last major point, and then I'm done, and I'll let you take it away for a few minutes so I can catch my breath. At the end of the game last night, there's a cut to the dugout. All the starters are already out at this point, and they are sitting around laughing and cutting up as the younger guys, the backups, are all sitting there trying to clean up their mess. You're going to sit there and laugh and cut up while they're trying to actually win the game that you caused to be down by so much. I'm so frustrated. I'm losing my flow. Point being, you can't, like, what are we doing? Like, where are the leaders on this team saying, hey, let's shape this up? Like, let's show some passion. And I understand. I don't want these guys to be throwing stuff around and getting angry. I just want them to feel as disappointed in themselves as the fans felt in them last night. That's really all I want to see. I don't want to see them slamming crap. I don't want to see, frankly, don't want to see Zach York cursing out the pitcher when they're losing by as much as they were, but fine. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm just asking you to own where you're at and improve. So if McNeese wasn't the wake-up call, hopefully this is.
Well said. Excuse me. Well said. You said a couple of things. You touched on a couple of things that were perfect. First of all, Paul even mentioned earlier on his show. I'm glad you said it. Like, you can want a better attitude, but it doesn't have to be throwing shit. And Sky, I know we don't curse on here, but this is where they got us. You don't have to be throwing things and smashing things and all. Like, that's not what we mean. You know, Paul said the exact same thing. That's not what we mean. I didn't see. I was up in the press box, so I couldn't see. I couldn't see that. I didn't know that they were laughing down there like that. I had no idea. Now I will say, when things were going well in those last few innings, I did see a lot of the starters. You know, like Case and Evans, Cooper Moore, those guys. Which obviously they don't have anything to be embarrassed about this weekend. They did their job. They were a big part of like that rallying group, you know, cheering on the young guys, you know, and that was cool. I couldn't see in the dugout, like I said, but also the velocity wasn't low this weekend. That definitely not an excuse. Like, I was watching the radar gun all 3 days I was there, and it was like 89, 90, 91 for the most part. Like, that's not the low velocity we're talking about. You know, when we go back to McNeese, you know, where they're 85 and throwing 60-mile-an-hour curveballs like that. That's not what it was at all. So you're right. Like, that was not the excuse at all. It's I hate to mention him because he's been incredible, and we know when things turn up, he turns up. But I've had multiple people tell me how frustrating they are with watching Steven Milam. I think you've said it. Daniel was sitting next to me last night, has said it. My dad, your cousin, my brother-in-law, Kyle has said it. Brad has said it. Like, when you're not even running out a ground ball, you know, in certain situations, even when you're up, down, no matter what, you know, and then these guys that you're now a junior, you know, are supposed to be looking up to you, you know, like, but Daniel said it, he's like, you know, I don't think this is what he's thinking in his head. Or maybe, I don't know, but like, stop trying to look cool and just run it out. Derek Coryell last night hits a ground ball right at a guy, and he's hustling his butt out the box, and he puts the pressure on a guy, he boots it, and he gets on base. And I think that might have started the seventh inning where they started scoring runs. Like, that's the point. Like, just hustle. Like, you know, and like, not to harp on Milam, we love him. He's incredible. He was massive part. Like, you don't win the national championship last year without him. You don't get to be in one out away from hosting a super regional in 2024 when he was a freshman without him. But we saw this last year where he was like slow and was doing this exact same thing. Look, G Moose literally just said it in the chat right at the same time. That's why I love you, G Moose. Like, we hoped going into this year, like I said, you're now the biggest leader on the team. Like, you're the 3-year starter. Like, you, Jake Brown, you know, like, it's just surprising that we're kind of seeing the same thing again. You know, I didn't think we would. I don't know what it is. Like, it's strange, but credit to the young guys though. I that was awesome to see, and I mean, if watching, you know, Jack Ruckert, Ethan Claus, William Patrick, Daniel Harden, Eddie Yaman, watching all these guys come into the game and do what they did last night doesn't motivate all the guys that got yanked because they weren't doing crap, I don't know what does. Like, Jay's telling you, like, look, and no, he's not just going to bench all of those guys. Like, that's not going to happen. But, like, when you see these guys come in and pick up your slack, like, you got to be embarrassed to some extent, right? Like, something in you's got to be like, wait, we couldn't do that? Like, we, you got four guys in the starting lineup, maybe five that were, like, that one of that have a ring on their finger right now, like, so. And like you said, the sky's not falling. Like tomorrow, I told Paul and I on the phone earlier, I told him the crazy thing about baseball is you can go out and play a good game and beat ULL by 5 tomorrow, and all this goes away. Like, just like that. If you go put on a good performance, it all goes away. Because you're going, like, you mess around tomorrow, you're going to get embarrassed even worse than you almost did last night. And the score makes it look closer than when it was. You got embarrassed. Like, don't get me wrong. I guess you could say it's good to see that they fought back and didn't get 10-run ruled like they did against Northwestern last year. But, I mean, it's not – if last night happens after, like, a good weekend, where the offense played 2 of 3 good games or something like that, then okay, whatever. It's baseball. But this is a pattern at this point. And like, we don't have to go to the extent of saying – fire coaches or bench guys or do this. We're not there. We're really not there. But like, you got to get going. Like you said, we're 5 games away from going to Vanderbilt, going to Nashville, and that's always a well-coached team. I mean, that's probably one of the top 3 or 4 coaches in the SEC, probably in the country. They're going to be ready to play. They play fundamental. They're not going to give you mistakes. You're not going to just be able to score 3 runs because they walked you 6 times in a game. Like, none of that's going to happen. You got to be on it, like, or you're going to go. And thankfully, you've got a stellar rotation right now that probably has your back. But at some point, like, those guys aren't going to be able to carry it all through SEC play, as good as they all are. Like, you've got to pick it up, man. Like, you got to, like, show some fight. And I trust that they will. I really do. And I mentioned was that Sunday night when I went on? Yeah, I was on with the Go team. And I told Daniel about this yesterday. I regretted I said that there was nothing to be concerned about, or I had no concerns is what I said. And then they were like, it is concerning and all that. And I was like, I said that wrong. It absolutely is concerning. And that was before last night that I'm saying that it absolutely is concerning. But the reason why I feel okay about it is because of the man that's in charge. But at the same time, like, he can't play. He's not going on the field.
Jersey, right.
Right. So, like, at some point, like, it's on the players to follow his lead, and you can't get into a situation like you did in 2024 where you start 3-12 and it took you half of SEC play before you finally started to listen to the message and it started to click, because that was the conversation coming into this year was, is it going to be a repeat of 2024? And Jay talked about he went and studied why some of the most historic champions have had issues, the Celtics, the Patriots, I guess not Bama, but he listed off some of the even professional teams that have won a championship and then the next year struggled, and why it's so hard. Because like you said, you're the target. Everybody wants you, especially these in-state schools, everybody wants it. Like, maybe when you get into the SEC, that's just SEC play regardless. It's rivalries. Like, that's never going to change that. But all these other schools are coming to beat you. Like, and if you show up like you did last night, that's what happens.
So, 1 to 10, and I'll let you go first, and then I'll give mine. 1 to 10, where's your panic meter at?
3, honestly. Like, I do have that much faith in it. But 3 assuming, all right, I'll say 5. 3 would be assuming that they look better tomorrow, which I do think they will. Like, I don't know, man. I trust Jay. I trust Jake Brown. I just think that the fight you saw from late in that game from the other guys, it's got to spark something. It has to, like, right? Like, and I'm like the eternal optimist. Like, I know it. and I spend a lot of my time trying to like talk people off a ledge, which, thankfully 90%, maybe that's too high, 80% of the fans this year are on that side of it. But it's three, yeah. So like three, like I said, I would say three, but I mean a bad performance tomorrow and it quickly goes up quickly.
Yeah, I think around the fourth inning last night, I was probably at like an 8. Woke up this morning, I was probably at a 7. I stayed at a 7 until I gave my rant. Now I'm probably at like a 5. Felt like I needed to get that off my chest to feel better.
There you go.
but
There you
but
go.
like you said, man, it's I trust it. I trust Jay and I trust Coach Yes. Anybody calling for either of them, seriously calling for either of them to be fired. Paul called about it in his channel earlier. I don't want to name names, but what are we firing
Everyone knows.
coaches for at this point? You just won a national championship last year with this coaching staff. You probably have more talent, keyword being talent, from a hitting perspective this year than you did last year. Like all around, not necessarily individualized into just a couple of players. So, and the starting pitchers on the weekend looked great. A handful of the relievers look really, really good. This is all very fixable, right? But the problem is,
Right.
until they decide to take ownership and fix it themselves, I'm going to be worried about the same things happening tomorrow, this weekend, against it's Creighton. I get those basketball school
Tuesday,
bird logos
yeah.
mixed up. Yeah,
They do
Creighton.
play great. Yeah.
But if you can't fix these issues before SEC play, being the moral of the story here, we're in trouble. We're in deep trouble, and that it's got to be fixed.
Yeah, no, for sure. Sorry, I was trying to pull it up real quick, but yes,
You're
Creighton
good.
is on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Creighton's a solid team. They always are. They're a tournament team. I think they were in Arkansas regional last year, and I'm pretty sure they gave Arkansas like some good games too. Both, I think they played them twice. I think they made it to the winners final. I could be mixing up years, but they're always, that's another, well coached team. Yeah, I mean, you said it too. Like that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, while it is fixable and you trust the man in charge to be the one to fix it, like you also have to see the guys be coachable, and show that they can be fixed. And this is what I'd say too with the offense. It's it's kind of like you go through hot spurts, and you go through cold spurts, and then generally on a normal time there's like half the lineups hot, and half of it's not, I want to say cold, but just not hot. And we did see through the first 8 games or whatever it was up until that UCF game where like almost everybody was hot. I mean, we were talking about like this time last week we were talking about your 7th and 8th ranked batting averages being Derek Curriell and Stephen Milam at 333. So that tells you everybody was hitting. So that's not, we knew that wasn't going to be sustainable, but everybody went cold. And that's why it's looked so bad. Like you've had nobody stay hot. I mean, on Friday night, you had one guy with multiple hits. On Saturday, you had nobody with multiple hits. Sunday, I'd have to look back and find notes, but I don't even know. Maybe it was one guy with multiple hits that night too, for the Sunday day game. But one. So yeah,
Jake
so
Brown.
1 with multiple hit, 0 with multiple hit. Yes, Jake Brown. Yes, the double and the home run, and then 1 with. So you had 2 guys that had multiple hits between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And the bright spot is you also had one on Monday. Eddie Yaman. Great performance coming off the bench from Eddie Yaman. And everybody's kind of talked about him as being the ultimate dugout guy over the past 2 years at this point. And it's really, really good to get to see him shine. And if there's any positive to take away, it's, I'm going to name a few just from the guys that stood out to me, but all of the guys that came off the bench and did a really good job yesterday. Yaman, beautiful home run, multi-hit game. Klaus with the triple, I mean,
Hmm.
it was a tough play for the fielder, but I mean, he legged it out. That was a really good showing by him.
Yep.
William Patrick, 1 for 1 with 3 runs and a walk. Like, it's a great stat line. You go 1 for 1 and score 3 runs. Take that every day.
Right.
Like, I mean,
Right.
the
Right.
young guys showed up, and that's the biggest positive I can take away from yesterday is that
Yeah.
we're going to be okay in the future, but for right now, it's a little alarming. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the bright spot from yesterday. I'll sugarcoat that over.
Yeah, no, I mean that's absolutely worth it for Yaman. So I got. I hope everyone's proud of me. I finally got my first question in last night. I was proud of myself, but and I had questions ready for Jay for players. It's just between I wasn't there Saturday. Friday went really late, so we had like 4 minutes with Jay. Sunday, uh, what Sunday? Oh, Sunday was when they had like the 30 plus minute meeting on the field after the game. So we were waiting. We waited so long, and this is the same thing last night too. Usually he does the media first and then does the radio spot with Bill Franquez in the back. Both nights he had to do the radio spot first because they were going to be going off air if they waited much longer. That's how long it took. So yeah. So I did have questions, but I had to. I mean, it was somber in there. You know, we were surprised that we even got a player last night. But yeah, Kate Aaron Beatty came in, and I just I wanted to hear because I knew him and Yaman are close, especially, and I talked about this all last year. I talked about it preseason. Eddie Yaman was just like the best teammate, and this is from my point of view, just watching it on TV last year, like the best teammate that you can possibly have. And this kid came as a like 2 year player, knew that he was never touching the field last year, was taking a red shirt, and was the first one out and the best teammate, the biggest cheerleader for his teammates the entire year. And then starts this year, and he had one plate appearance before last night. One. That's it. You know, and last night was game 13. Um, so it's awesome. First, he gets the hit, in his first one, and that was his first ever hit as an LSU Tiger. He's been on a team that's like his probably 70th something game. He's been on a team, on a roster, and he got his first hit, and then the home run, man, it was awesome. So yeah, I had to, I asked Kate Aaron Beatty just to talk about that moment. It's on my Twitter if y'all want to go see it, but his response was great. His face kind of lit up a little bit, and it was just awesome to hear. And I mean, he even mentioned, he said he's the type of guy that almost wants success for everybody else, for all of his teammates, more so than he even wants it for himself. Like that type of kid is just to have that on your team. It's invaluable. Like even without the home run last night, like that stat will never show up on the stat sheet, but that matters. And hopefully that is something that everybody on the team thinks about, propels them, because it was awesome. It was a really, really cool moment.
You know who he kind of reminds me of at this moment, and this very well could end up being his trajectory for the next couple years at LSU, is Chris Reed. Like Chris
Oh
Reed
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes,
was
yeah,
professional hitter. Like he was
yeah.
the ultimate vibes guy. Like he's doing push-ups in the dugout, celebrating people getting big hits or home runs or whatever it was. Like
Mm-hmm.
he kind of reminds me of Chris Reed does right now,
That's a
and,
good
and
comp.
maybe that's what his role ends up being, because
Mm-hmm.
Jay's talking about some of these guys who haven't played a whole lot getting more playing time right now, and people want to talk about Rucker. Oh, my computer just went fully dark.
I saw your face go dark. I was wondering what happened.
Anyway, I'll talk through it until it gets straight. And there
You
may be
good?
some
We can
beeping
hear
in
you
the
fine.
background. Um, yeah, and Jake wants to talk about some of the guys that are going to get more playing time through this whole process, and it
Mm-hmm.
could be Rucker, but I think uh, Eddie Yaman at this point, because I mean the only multi-hit player from last night.
Yeah, for
Give
sure.
me 1 second.
Um,
I'm trying to get this
you good?
straightened out.
I'll talk. You good? Yeah, Yaman's one. Yeah, I mean Rucker. See, I don't know that. I don't know that there's any individual it's a collective effort right now from the guys on offense that are struggling. So I don't think there's like I don't think I can't point to one individual that I think's really at risk of being the guy that's benched. So it's hard to point out. I mean, I know people are frustrated with Aaron Beatty, and he's been a little shaky with wild pitches behind the plate and all. And I'm not. I just know this is where we saw him early on the last year, and then they got it cleaned up. And that's as a freshman. And you got to remember, like he played one game a weekend last year. Like you got to give him time. I know it feels like you want him to be that guy, and I'm not making excuses for him at all. But just like Case and Evans, like on Friday, like, you got to remember, like it's not just a given that these guys are going to step into this role and just be perfect from the start. Like they're sophomores. Sophomore slump is a thing. Like I'm not even saying that they're whatever, but you just give it time is what I'm saying. So, but yeah, I mean that DH role is always a possibility for some of these guys, and then another like Chris Stanfield's going to be coming back soon, and some guys had chances, and not that like Simpson did well, and you know Tanner Reeves hit a couple balls hard last night that just went right at people. So but it like I said, it's hard to point out to one person that may be the one to get benched, but I mean, Jay will show you he's not going to hesitate. Now he knows what he may get when he does start make moves later in the game, and we know he's not scared to make moves late in the game.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Stanfield because that was the next place I wanted to go. Is everybody talks about how important his bat is to the lineup. He doesn't hit for a whole lot of power, but he just offers another threat. So that's the other thing that I can kind of add to, my whole argument is there may be a world where Stanfield comes back and they look like they never missed a beat, and this was all just some kind of flukish thing because they were how much they were actually missing Stanfield. And I really think that could end up being the case. I would love to see him back in the lineup tomorrow. I know he's getting close. I really don't think we will. Honestly, I'm not sure you see him this weekend either. And I think you may see him midweek against Creighton just to get him a couple of bats before SEC play. But despite him being physically close, I don't think he's quite there yet to coming back and playing yet. So it's something I'm definitely looking out for.
Yeah, for sure. I mean that just the vibe, because he is a vibes guy as well. Just him being back in that 9 hole, and not to take any like Trent Caraway, I think is one of only three, maybe two, 300 hitters still on this team as far as like the high.
Three. Jake Brown 393,
Yeah, three.
Trent Caraway 316, and Aaron Beatty sitting right
Yeah.
at 300.
See, I mean, like, yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, I definitely want the defense to be cleaned up behind the plate. That is a thing. But just quickly, I mean, we haven't. It's not like Cerna has shown that much more to where not to say we can't wish that it's better. It does need to get better. Like, to be clear, but it feels like I'll just say Aaron Beatty, when he has a bad game at the plate, it's very clearly a bad game. I think is a way to say it. It just looks bad, But like, I mean, 1 for 2 with a walk last night. I actually until the young guys came in, I think it was around the 6th inning, or it maybe it's the 7th. I pointed this out to Daniel. I said, if you had to guess who's like has the most offensive production from just like an average on base percentage standpoint right now, who would you guess? And he mentioned a couple names. I'm like, it's Aaron Beatty. He's 1 for 2 with a walk. 666 on base percentage right now. So it just, like I said, it just feels worse because of when it's rough, it's rough. But yeah. Anyway, where I was going with that was that Caraway's done a pretty good job in the 9 hole. He's like you said, 316. He's quietly been solid, and he really hasn't had the slump that everyone else has. He's been steady, through the weekend. But I'm curious to see him bump up a little bit, and then Stanfield going at 9 spot, and how that changes things. I mean, it could just be a simple click. Who knows? But I think you're right, though. I don't think we see him tomorrow. I told Daniel last night. I said I think he would have been playing by now if this was an SEC play. I really do. But I would like to see him this weekend. Maybe what we just saw for the last 5 games offensively is a reason why they could try to get him back in. You know.
Yeah, I think if that is the case, and that is the missing puzzle piece here, which I think it very well could be, you've got to at least see if what you can get out of him this weekend,
Yeah.
because you've got to fix the mistakes, and you've got to get these guys some confidence before they go into a tough road environment, really. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we're harping on this weekend as if they still didn't go 3-1, and a lot of
Right.
that credit I'm going to give to the pitching staff from Friday to Sunday. Um, Case and Evans, Jay gave everybody the call out to do homework. Uh, John Eads did a great job of putting that together for
Of course he
everybody,
did.
so we've
Of
seen the
course he
stats
did.
there. Yeah, of course. But he did have a really good game on Saturday, followed by Gavin Guidry, 3 2/3, 5 strikeouts, 1 hit, another really good performance from Guidry. Saturday, Cooper Moore, another really good Cooper Moore performance. Very well may be the best performing pitcher on staff right now from a starting perspective. 7 2/3, 3 hits, 10 strikeouts, 1 earned run. Devin Sheeran closing out Saturday, 1 1/3, 3 strikeouts. Uh, William Schmidt, another legendary William Schmidt performance we talked about in the recap on Sunday. 7 1/3, 4 hits, 9 strikeouts. Dothy, Rizzi, and Newton. There was some trouble there at the end between Rizzi and Dothy and whatever. But I think all around, Friday through Saturday, pitching was really good. Friday through Sunday was really good. Monday is when things kind of got off the rails with the mistakes.
Yeah.
All credit due to the pitching staff so far. They were incredible this weekend for the most part.
Agree. I mean, I said this after the game Saturday, and it's not always gonna be this easy, but having like a Evans Guidry to Moore Sheeran combo for like those 2 1-2 punches can get you off to a lot of 2-0 starts, and then it's like, oh, and then there's William Schmidt on Sunday who's gonna go 7 2/3 shutout, not walk a batter, like that's the most important thing for him. Um, Case and and I didn't see as much of it this week, but there's still like oh, should we shuffle staff, and all. Kaysen, there was one big glaring issue. Not, I don't want to say big. His only big issue, I'd say in my mind. Whatever. It was the 2 leadoff walks in the second and the third inning. Like that. That's the two. That's the one thing. He can't lead off the leadoff hitter. This is a stat. It's like they come around the score over 50% of the time. I don't know exactly what it is nowadays, but that's like kind of an old adage. And those two did score, both of those guys. So that just proves that point. But other than that, I mean, he was amazing. Like he's yeah, of course, the one word that we would say, and like going into this Friday, I'd say, just want to be a little bit cleaner. That's it. But he ended up, I don't have it right here, it's in my old notebook, but I think he was right at 65% strikes. I mean, y'all tired of hearing me say it. 2/3 strikes. You're doing your job as a starting pitcher. Um, so
Yeah, I
he
think
was
that's
good.
what
And then
it was.
Coop, yeah, I think all three of them ended up right around the same thing.
Yeah,
If I
the box
remember
scores I
right,
printed
looking
out didn't
back at
have
it.
the total strikes, so that's why I was looking, but I didn't see it.
I'm pretty sure all of them were within 65 to like 68%.
Right,
Like they all ended
right.
up at almost the exact same. Cooper Moore, man, he should have had 8 innings. He gets the strikeout, but it goes to the backstop. Serna couldn't block it up, and the guy gets on first, and that's when they made the move to Sharon. Not that 7 2/3 doesn't look great, but 8 would look so much better. But that's just a silly thing. But he was great. Devin Sharon still has not allowed a hit on the season. That's his fifth outing, I think. Still has not given up a hit. That's ridiculous. I'm looking at that real quick just to make sure. Yes, five outings for Sharon, no hits, and I skipped over Guidry. I mean, there's not much to say about Guidry at this point. We know, like, he's just incredible. Like, that dude, he can come in and do what he did the other night and throw, three however many innings it was, 3 and something, or you can throw an inning and then come back 2 days later and throw another one. Like it's just he's just a stud. And Nish Schmidt, man, the amount of strikes he had three ball counts all day. He only started 2 hitters, 2-0, the whole day. Um, it's phenomenal. I mean, that's the difference. You work ahead, and then your stuff, the filthy stuff that you have, just looks lethal. When you're throwing strikes and you're in the zone and they're off balance and they have to go into protect mode and not attack mode. That makes all the difference in the world. And then Rizzy is, I always say it with him. It's just like Rizzy being Rizzy. Rizzy's only given up 1 hit so far this year, but like he's had 4 outings and none of them have been just like all dominant. There's been just a little bit of shaky, in each one of them. But it's crazy. He's only given 1 hit. It's just, the occasional walk, that creeps up on him. And he was close to finishing it the other day. But it was good to see Jaden Newt bounce back. He had the rough start against Kent State, where he did not look good at all. And then he bounced back against McNeese, who had a 1-2-3 inning, to get you back into the dugout to try to come back in that game, and then comes in and just gets you a 6-pitch strikeout on Sunday to end that one too. And he's back to being Jaden Newt. So yeah, all what's that? 7 of them? No, 8 of them. All 8 of them were,
Fantastic.
except Dothy threw 2 pitches and hit 1. But I mean,
Right.
I'm not worried about him, but
No.
just the other 7, fantastic.
Yeah, Dothy's going to be fine. I mean, he's shown flashes of being really good as well. You talked about Devin Sheeran, 0 hits. Gavin Guidry, 0 walks. That's another really, really big one. Rizzy's stats look fine. He's got a 1.35 ERA.
Mm-hmm.
He's another one of those guys who he's going to click and get into gear at any moment. And he's showing you like he's working his way there. He'll be what we expected sooner or later.
Right.
The other thing I wanted to highlight on kind of what you had talked about in terms of how the staff looked this weekend before we get into stripes. You talked about William Schmidt and not having a 3-ball count the entire game. Would you have believed that would be the case last year? Like if you took present David, sent him back in time to last year, even towards the end of the season last year, like this is going to be William Schmidt's stat line. Like, I think we'd all be ecstatic.
Yeah. If you would have told me that after his first start, opening weekend, I wouldn't have believed that. Because that was he walked 3 or 4 that game, gave up the home run, and was filthy outside of that. But had the 1 rough inning. But like that was I still walked a few. We need to see that be fixed. And then to do it, he walked 1 last week and then none this week. That's that development. And it's obviously he's going to have like a bad or shaky outing coming soon. It's going to happen. Like it's just not going to be perfect. Cade Anderson had shaky performances. And not saying he's going to become Cade. I'm just saying like even the dude that went number 3 overall as a sophomore, had shaky outings last year. It's going to happen, but it's this like trajectory that he's on like so quickly. It's like, okay, this is the kid that everyone talked about getting here. It had like it seems like he's arrived, and it's so exciting, man. It's so exciting to watch.
It's. I mean, this is the guy that everybody was, like you said, everybody's excited about, that he decided to forego the pros to come play for the hometown team. Really exciting to see. Are you ready to get into stripes?
I am. I just realized I forgot to write them down, but I'll be fine. We're good.
It's going to be an interesting. Yeah. It's going to be an interesting session to begin with. So, alrighty, let me pull up the graphic. And I believe you are first this week.
I sure do. And unintentionally, that segue was perfect. William Schmidt, first pick overall. No doubt. Easiest pick probably of the year. I mean, I don't have to repeat it, but everything he did, he was incredible.
Yeah, he had a really, really good performance. My first pick today, I've got a few guys. William Schmidt was my number 1 as well. I'm gonna go with Cooper Moore. I, you know, kind of sensing the trend here. I expect it to be a lot of pitchers. Uh,
Yeah.
but Cooper Moore, like, and we've talked about it, he's a guy who's gonna pitch to contact, but puts up another 10 strikeout performance. I mean, is that what it was? Yeah, it's 10 strikeouts. I was looking at the wrong thing, but
Yeah.
it's still 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
7 2/3, the one walk, 3 hits. I don't expect much better than what he did. Um, my second pick, I was gonna go Guidry, uh, but I feel like there's so many more times that Guidry's gonna get on here. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Sheeran. Um, he's been massive down the stretch so far. Uh,
Yeah.
and like you said, if he can keep being that first guy out of the pen on Saturday and closing games out, then we've got a lot of promise here.
Yeah. It it's exciting, man. He had the two walks against that middle game, Notre Dame, and then quickly pitched himself out of it, and that's been the only bumpy part for him. Those two hitters. It's I just love his attitude. That may be my favorite part. Not even the no hits, like the fact that he just like I've said this before. I'm gonna say it again. It looks like he hates the guy in the batter's box. Like he despises whoever is standing there, and he's gonna let him know about it too. And that's maybe that's the type of fight that we need, from the bats like that. Maybe that's what we're talking about. Just do something and have some attitude about it. And not that you have to like yell at the other team, but just show some emotion, I guess. But I'm gonna take the low hanging fruit. I gotta go Gavin Guidry. Like coming in, in a close game on Friday night, in a game that you shouldn't really be that close with, to go 3 2/3, only give up one hit, strikes out five, 50 pitches. That was the first time he got to 50 pitches this year. I don't have the amount of strikes that he threw, but I can tell you it's going to be a lot because, as you said, he has no walks on the year, and he's thrown 9 full innings, 0 walks. I mean, he's just been incredible. So, got to go Guidry. And then I got to go Eddie Almond for my last one. Sorry.
God,
But I mean,
I was hoping you missed him.
he that dude that I mean, watching that moment, especially in person last night, you would have thought he just hit a walk off. He hit a 2-run home run to get them within 6, and like the crowd that was left, but the dugout, everybody went absolutely nuts. He went nuts. I mean, we've had some cool moments. We're 13 games into the year. The Dardar home run, on opening day. The Guidry entry on opening day. And then this goes right up there with him. It was so cool to see. Eddie Almond deserves all the flowers, and I hope that's not the end. I hope he gets some more chances, and I hope he continues to take advantage of it. He almost, Jay even mentioned it. He barely missed that ball in the ninth inning too. He was very close to hitting another one out. It was a
I
good
was
swing.
sweating
He
that one.
just missed it.
Yep. That was one I was
But
definitely
yeah,
sweating on. I was like, we may have a ball game here, folks. We may be up till 1 o'clock in the morning for this one. um,
yeah, yep.
my final pick, I'm gonna go Case and Evans. I think
I like it.
another guy who definitely deserves his flowers on the year. Shout out to Jay Johnson for kind of opening people's eyes to that. Definitely deserves his flowers for the year. And the irony, we have all three weekend starters. I think that's the most obvious part you could have gone with there. So that's how it goes.
Yep, that's a great list. That's a great list. I mean, you get all three guys in your starting rotation on this list, and you're probably going to have won all 3 games, so that's, yeah, obviously you end the weekend 3-1, but the goal on these weekends is to win 2, really. But if those guys pitch like that or even close to like that, with the offense will come around enough to where even if they're not doing what they did in the first 8 games, like if they just come around, a little bit and just get to like medium, they're gonna win. It's a great point by LaCobra. He absolutely does. The best way I could explain the way he throws is it looks like he's throwing a shot put. You know how you kind of like shove like your palm. I've never thrown a shot put. I'm just saying based on what I've seen. But like the heavy ball and the way you like just turn and you, like that's how it looks like he's throwing it, and it looks like he's trying to throw the ball through the catcher. Like he said he doesn't like the guy in the batter's box. He don't like the catcher either. He's trying to throw it like straight through his chest.
Oh goodness, yeah. I mean, I wonder if he did have any track career in high school or something, because that would probably make a lot of sense. So.
Yeah, yeah.
Alrighty, now we move on to what's to come. Tomorrow night, in my stomping grounds, the place that I reside, Lafayette, Louisiana, we have the University of Louisiana Lafayette Ragin Cajuns. Uh, they're a solid team. I mean, they're 9-3 on the year, and they've played some tough games as well. What's your early scouting report on the Cajuns? I'm avoiding saying UL because I know Paul and anybody else in the chat is going to give me a lot of crap if I just say UL and forget to add the extra L.
Yeah, well, once you mention the other factor that prevents you from going too hard on that, I get it. There's one boss in most of our lives, and you have to appease that one first and foremost. So I get it. Yeah, they're a good team, man. They've had some. They're not just a 9-3 like a typical 9-3. Like they have some impressive wins. I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend like I know how good Maryland baseball is, but I know they hosted a regional just like 2 years ago. So they have had success, but they sweep them. That's impressive. Kansas State was a regional team last year. Dardar was on that team as a pretty good team that almost beat Kate Anderson and Kason Evans. They have a 2-game sweep against them in the midweek a week ago. And then UC San Diego is always a solid team, too. They take 2 or 3 from them. To remind everyone, that's where Anthony Ianson came from. And I think they have another of their former pitchers who's like in the UCLA starting rotation, who's now the unanimous number 1 team. So they have good players coming through there, too. So that's some impressive wins for them. They don't. I think they're doing it more so with pitching, from what I've seen, because their hitting's not like crazy off the chart. They have 3 guys that are hitting 300. They only have, let me see, I think it was 7 home runs hit so far. So it's not like they're crushing the ball. They doing what they need to do. They're a solid club, good lineup. They're not relying on all one guy, but they're a good team. That's going to be a tough fight tomorrow.
Yeah, and of those 7, only 2 guys have more than 1 home run, so they spread the wealth when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I can tell you, I've watched quite a few of their contributors from their time in the Lake Charles area. I have some familiarity with the assistant coach Rick Elson. I'm not sure how to say it. I even struggled to say it when he was the assistant coach at McNeese. But I can tell you this team is also really, really well coached. So they play to their competition, and they're going to give everything they have tomorrow to LSU. And if they're not ready, they have to be ready. You've got to be ready for them to bring the fight to you, because they're going to do it. These guys, a lot of them want to be at LSU. Let's not forget that. They want to prove that they deserve to be where you are, rather than where they're currently at. And that's not a knock on the ULL Ragin Cajun program, but it's gonna be a dogfight. I fully expect. And if it's not, and the LSU we expect shows up tomorrow, even more the better. You said before that did you have a projected starter for tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of 2 guys. Let me get back to the stats too. Let me flip back. I'm sorry, I forgot I flipped the page to get to stripes. Yeah, I think it's going to be one of 2 guys based off of what they've done in the midweek so far. So the first I would think would be Sawyer Pruitt. He went 6 innings, 3 hits, struck out 9, and walked 3 against Kansas State last week. The only thing to watch with him is he threw an inning on Sunday. I guess they needed him late in the game, and you know how that goes. It's not you're not saving a guy for the midweek. So if you need him to close out a series, they will. So it could be him or the other guy to watch who did start last Wednesday for them is Tyler Papenbrock. He went 5 innings, gave up only a hit, struck out three, and walked one last week. And in both those games, those stats that I gave you were against Kansas State. You know, like we just talked about, being a solid team. So it could be either one of those. Pruitt's ERA is at 0 right now. He's thrown 15 in 2/3 innings. Hasn't even given up an earned run yet. He's got a 2-0 record. Only giving up 14 hits. That's a hit per inning. That's not bad. So if they go with him, he's a solid option. And then I'm looking for the others stats. The other one, okay, so Papenbrock's got 6 ERA. Let's see, I lost it for a second. He's only given up 5 hits. Papenbrock has, and he's pitched five times, 5 appearances. That's 9 innings. So you're talking about, I mean, like we said, Gavin Guidry's given up what, 1 hit, you said, in 9 innings, no walks. You know, so only 5 and 9. You don't have to compare him to Guidry. I'm just using it for numbers' sake because we watch it. But that's one of the two guys that I would expect it to be.
I'm gonna also drop a name, um, and I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't, just because of how well I know the story of this kid. He hasn't made an appearance yet this year, so he may be dealing with an injury. I can't find any articles or any news stories regarding it. Landon Victorian out of Barb, a kid I obviously know very well from watching him play. He's an Oklahoma transfer. He was originally a longtime LSU commit. So if they look for kids who or guys who have that fire and want to go after LSU, that very well could be somebody you see tomorrow night. And I can guarantee you he is a very, very, very talented pitcher. Uh, I don't have any inside information on whether or not he's hurt or anything. It's just a name that I want to throw out because I know he is a former LSU commit, and I know how talented he is. On the LSU side, obviously the bullpen is a little depleted from having to play 4 games this weekend. Who do you think the Tigers run out there?
We were talking about that last night while waiting for Jay, and there was a point where I was like going down the list, like scratching people off that just it's not going to be because they've used. I kept saying last night, I'm like, who are they going to use? Like they kept using guys last night that I thought they may save. I want to say Jaden Newt would be my guess. For 2 reasons, he threw the 1 inning against McNeese. He only threw a third of an inning to one batter on Sunday, so it's not like he's been used a whole lot. Um, he's only got 4 1/3 innings pitched, and 3 of them came on the first Monday of the season. So that was what over 2 weeks ago now. Um, I think it would be him, and the reason why too is because he's a veteran. This is his 4th year in college. You know, even though it's his only second full year of experience, but going into that environment, I think that's a guy like he pitched in Omaha. You know, of the guys that are probably available, he has the most experience. You know, to go step into an environment like this. So that's my guess. You know, I don't know how much they'll try to get out of him. You know, if it's going well, but that would be the I'd be surprised if it's someone else. I'll say that. It'd be different if it was at home, but being at Lafayette at the Tigue, I think that's who it is.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just played a similar game after you said that just to see who didn't pitch this weekend, basically. Uh, I left Newt crossed off because you said he only went a little bit, and we know he has a lot more in him. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't look like Plog through this weekend. Um,
No.
and the only other one who didn't throw between Friday and Monday is, I believe, Santiago Garcia.
Yep.
So you're
Yep.
real thin.
Danny Lockenmeyer too, but that's another matchup lefty at this point.
Did he go last night, or did I? I thought he had gone last night.
No, he didn't throw last night.
Maybe he might have been
Last
warming up
night
last night.
was. Oh, maybe so. Maybe so. I didn't. I wish there was a camera for the bullpen up in the box. It's so hard to see. Last night was William, Cowan, Ricken, Theophilus, Benj, Paz, Fontenot, Primo.
Okay. So yeah, then Lackenmeyer, you very well could see. I mean, who's looks decent in his two performances so far. He only has an inning of work, um, and one walk, but could be something there as well. Who knows? Um, I do
I would
expect them to
think
win this
all
game.
three of
Though.
those guys.
Yeah, yeah. It and after that, I mean, you may have to dip back into guys that went Friday or Saturday with Sheeran or Gidry, and you'd hate to burn them, but you don't have much of a choice at that point because of how sideways. I mean, maybe some of those guys from Monday can go again. I don't necessarily know, but
Yeah.
it's thin.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say that. I mean, the most aside from no, the most anybody went last night was Cowan with an inning and 2/3. For the most part, everything. Theophilus went an inning and 2/3. There was four guys that went an inning. So there's no reason that most of those couldn't come back. But I think the guys that you saw on the back end, like a Benj, maybe Paz, um, Fontenot, that's guys that you could use. I think this would be a situation where they'll try to get. The more I think about it, they may try to get as much as they can out of Newt, as long as it's going well. I don't think this is
Mm-hmm.
going to be, where he goes in and they're only looking to go two or three. I think
Right.
considering how many games you've played and how little he's thrown and how, you don't think you'll need him, a whole lot over the weekend, just let him go, and it could be a very good chance for him to show that he could be that guy.
Yeah, I mean, because they're definitely looking for that guy in terms of who's going to be the go-to midweek starter. Um,
Right.
Moving on to the weekend, though, Sacramento State comes in 3-8 record. I always worry about California teams because California teams always seem to be really talented. Um, they've only got one guy hitting over 300 through 11 games, though, which is Luis Pimentel Guerrero. Um, it feels like another question mark. I mean, they've played some really good teams. They got swept by UC Irvine. They took three of four from St. Joseph's. Got swept by Cal. So they've played some really good teams and lost to Pacific, which Pacific is a decent team as well. Um, Outlook for the weekend.
So I have a good guess on their Friday and Sunday starters. Actually, probably all three. Ethan Lay has been their ace. He started all three games for them so far this year. Forgive me as I'm trying to get to the hitting stats for them. But yeah, he started all three Fridays. He's got a 2.29 ERA. He's going 19 and 2/3 innings, 24 strikeouts. So over a strikeout per inning. He's only walked two. So he seems like a solid arm. I don't know exactly. It's hard to find deep scouting reports on some of these guys, but 189 batting average against. And as you said, they played some solid teams, so that's good stats for him. Uh, Kurt Martin would be the guy that I'd expect Saturday. He did not start against Cal this past weekend for Saturday. He started the first two weekends on Saturday. He didn't start against Cal on this Saturday, but I went back and looked, and he came in on Friday. They were playing a close game, and after Lay came out, they went to Martin. He ended up actually drawing the loss in that game. So that's I think why he didn't start on Saturday. And then let me give you his stats real quick. He's second with ERA on the team. Um, let's see. In terms of high innings, there's guys that have listed at zero. That have thrown, an inning on there. But in terms of I guess you'd say 10 or more innings, um, he is 2.3 ERA. He's thrown 15 innings. He's given up 14 hits, 17 strikeouts. So once again, one strikeout per inning. He's walked nobody, so no walks in 15 and 2/3 innings. So he's going to throw strikes. That I think pretty much like Lay on Friday night, you can expect to be in the zone, and you're going to have to take advantage of it. You got to hit the ball because it doesn't look like they're going to give you free passes. And Sunday is going to be Carson Timothy. I believe he started all three game threes for them so far. His ERA is good too, 2.45. He has thrown 11 innings in his three starts, so he doesn't go as deep as the other guys. He's only got 8 strikeouts, so less than one per inning. He's given up 8 hits, so a little bit closer to, um, a hit per inning than Lay would be. And I'm looking for walks. He's walked 4. So of the 3 starters, he's walked the most out of anybody. But still, 4 walks in 11 innings is not bad at all. So it looks like these guys are going to throw strikes and make you earn it.
Yeah, I mean, doing that against some of the teams that they've played is extremely impressive. I mean, they're playing Fresno State right now on the road, and they're tied up in the 4th. I want to throw that out there as well because they're having their midweek tonight. Um,
Yeah.
and it's similar to ULL in terms of. I'm sorry, I can't do that seriously. Um, Similar to the Raging Cajuns in terms of production, when it comes to like they don't really have a whole lot of guys hitting for a lot of power right now. They have one guy with more than one home run, and that's Eric Dessens. He's also got 10 RBIs. It's one of those things where like they may be trying to beat you within the field of play, and if you have the errors like you've had, like they're gonna make you pay, and they're gonna try to beat you by cashing in on your
Yeah.
mistakes. Um, so those kind of things get worked out, and that's the other thing that I kind of look for Stanfield on as well. Is like Stanfield's a really good fielder, and he's not making he doesn't play infield, but I mean, it's pure vibes at that point. Like you have a safety blanket back there that you don't really
Right.
have to worry about, and to kind of put everybody else at ease. So if they do decide to roll him out this weekend, that could be a good look.
Yeah. Um, it, I'm just now looking and thinking about their record, but being 3-8 and having your 3 weekend guys having the stats that I just read off, it's almost tough to do. That means that their offense, like you alluded to, is not gonna crush you. So you just go out and do your job. You don't have to score 8 a game this weekend. I mean, 5 may win. And you obviously we want to see more. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we're settling for that. But you just go do what you should do. Hit the ball when it's in the zone, which it looks like it's going to be, and put the pressure on them. And you know what the pressure of Alex Box does against some of these smaller teams. So just be yourself. And you should be good.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway from this whole night is pitching can only do so much for you. It takes scoring runs to win the game. You have a team this weekend that's if you get into a defensive battle, you can win it, but it's not fixing the mistakes that you need fixed at this point. Um, you have any final thoughts before we close out here?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. Tomorrow's whether you win or lose tomorrow, that doesn't define the season at all. A loss doesn't define it, but if you don't look good tomorrow, it gets sketchy. And you could lose tomorrow and come back and win 3 over the weekend and be in a good spot going into Creighton in your first SEC week. But I would feel a whole lot better if you lose by 1 tomorrow. Like that could be just baseball, but just put together some better at bats, and like, but yeah, tomorrow's. I feel good saying that I think we win 3 against Sacramento State based off of everything we've looked at so far and what we've seen with our pitching staff, our rotation. But man, tomorrow's important. Let me put it to you like that. Tomorrow is very important. Don't tell me midweeks don't matter. Tomorrow is very important, especially right now.
Yeah, and like I said to open, the sky's not falling, but the moon sure does look big. And I think that perfectly encapsulates my mindset at the moment. Is you're not dead, you're not at higher than a 5 on the panic meter, but things can get hairy real quick. As we close out tonight, make sure to subscribe. Uh, if you want to like the video, you can do that too. Go follow us both on
Do
X
it.
and make sure to
Do it.
follow the Go Deep Dive X account as well. We appreciate everybody being here tonight and commenting along and following along. I appreciate you dealing with our rant. David will have more post game write ups on the Go team. Is there anything I missed in terms of housekeeping notes?
I don't believe so. I will be at the box for all 3 games again this weekend. Back up there, so I will try to get you, some more stuff from post games, with the players, with coach, and then we'll do the same thing. Walk to the car. I'll give you my quick recap, and then we'll jump on. Just give us some time to get live. For me to, get back to where we can do the show. But it seems like it's maybe about an hour after at this point. But no, that's it. And shout out to the Go team. For helping us make this happen, and then the know with the press credentials. Shout out to them. You've been sharing some of the recaps in support of when I've been there. So we appreciate the help from everybody. We appreciate our guys in the chat, La Cobra, Paul, AP, Robert, so Babin. I think I got everybody. Hopefully, and G Moose, of course. I'm sorry, G Moose, the biggest supporter. I still think there's more than one. G Moose has a clone because there's no possible way that he can support everybody in the community that he does. Like, I don't get it. And we appreciate you. Once again, shout out Hand and Hawk state champs in girls soccer for G Moose. But we appreciate y'all. Thank you very, very much. And we're having fun. Can't wait to keep doing this.
Absolutely. One final question for you. Are you going credentialed on Sunday?
Yes.
Okay. Sunday, I will also be at the game. So we may be together for our post-game recap on Sunday. We will have to figure out the logistics of how that'll work. We may just run it off of one laptop. It's probably the easiest thing, but we will update everybody once we come to that decision. Love you all. Peace.